your character spends a lot of time with Brendon Gleeson's, right?
Yes.
So how did you guys bond? Did you do anything special? Or
A lot of me and Brendon's bonding, it was all on set. We didn't do anything outside of the work, almost like Jerome and Bill wouldn't. You wouldn't really catch them at the local bar next to each other, but you will catch them in need of each other all the time. So same way with me and Brendon, I was always in need of him on set. When I got there, I was nervous. I mean, he's inspiring. He's a legend. He's been in countless projects that I have watched him do extremely well in. So I definitely had this sense of nerves. Just how do I compete almost, and how do I match it? But it is not about that to him, and it's not about that to anybody who was on set. They cast me for a reason, and I felt as though they cast me for a reason when I got to set. So working with Brendon, it was a great learning experience because I would be hearing him speak to me, and in my mind, I'm just like, this is Mad Eye Moody. This is him. And then I'd snap back, and then he'd be telling me, about his dog in Ireland, or how he used to play rugby growing up. That's inspiring, and that motivates me to continue doing this line of work because I feel like I can be alongside legends like him. And at the same time, if I ever had a question, he was always there to answer it. And him and Jack were definitely the two men I always went to for questions on this part. What do you think this feels like? And the dynamic between me and Brendon, I think we found it day one, rather than trying to find it throughout the season. We found it day one, the first scene where I'm helping him on the laptop. I felt he was right here over me, and I just felt protected, and at the same time I felt like this is where Jerome should be, helping this man because he's a friend. And Brendon became a friend from that day. Yeah.
Why was it the show that kind of pulled you in this direction?
Why did I choose Mr. Mercedes?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Holland said it. Who said it? Harry said it today. That, I mean, for an actor, anything that comes your way, I mean, work is work. But more importantly, I love scripts that are different. I love scripts that kind of defy certain stereotypes. I'm playing a young black kid going to Harvard. It's not often you see that in a show where he's young, he's black in America, but he's among older white folk, and he's getting along, and there's never any talk about race, there's never any talk about who you are. It's just, can you help me with this, and you're good at this, and you're good at that. And so that kind of, even when I read Mr. Mercedes, that it was that sense. I loved how much detail he put into Jerome, and he didn't just leave Jerome as a side character. He didn't just make Jerome the guy who's there and then gone. He really put a lot of detail and work into Jerome, and so that excited me. That this one character got so much attention in a show that is sort of, well, it is an all-white casted show. So it's sort of that, yeah.
do we meet his family?
You do. You meet his family. You meet his dad and his sister. So, and then his dog Odell. So we have his dog Odell, Ziggy is his name, and so we get to. There's a couple episodes where you see the dad and you see Jerome and the way he has his family dynamic as well. Very good family that they got. Yeah.
So as the mystery gets deeper, why does Jerome must know this is dangerous, and so why would he keep pursuing?
Yeah, he's kind of crazy. Maybe he is crazy. No, that's the thing about Jerome. He's never afraid of a challenge. I think that's what got him into Harvard. I think that's what got him to where he's at now, to that sort of place in his life. He's carefree. He doesn't think too much. Which is sometimes a problem. Hodges thinks so much, and he gets so deep into his head, and that's where Brady can manipulate him. Jerome, what's in front of him is his only care, and he'll take care of it. So, and it also comes with the love he has for Hodges. Hodges is such Jerome knows that Hodges is very unstable. I mean, he makes jokes of it. That's Jerome's fun. But Jerome, at the same time, knows that he's needed, and he has this important place in Hodges' life. And I don't think he'd ever want to abandon him the way he wouldn't abandon his dog. He loves everything, and he loves people. He sees the good in them. So even when something like that approaches him, I think it kind of goes, I'm a hero, I'm a superhero, I'm here, I got your back. But don't get me wrong, fear. Fear everywhere. You know, he's definitely full of fear, and that's why I think that's why he continues to stay around. Like, he needs to get this fear off. He needs to know that this killer's gone. So he's gonna work with Hodges to do it.
What's the tone?
The tone of the character of the show. Definitely expect some dark tones, but Stephen King is a king of humor within that darkness, you know? So it's not like the whole time you're just like, oh my God, this is terrifying. There's a lot of humor. It's all character driven. So it's not like you should, I wouldn't say expect the pop outs and the flashy gore and the flashy this that makes what horror is. It's more so, I like to see it as a drama more than a horror or a thriller. You know, I like to see it as you're getting into the lives of these characters and you're thinking as these characters now. You're not just wondering if the killer's gonna kill them or if the killer's gonna kill them. You know, which is how I watch movies, you know. I watch who's next to die. It's more so, you know, who's next to go through another mental breakdown, or who's next to figure out this piece, or who's next to see that the ice cream man is the killer. You know, it's a thinking game to me, you know. So the tone is more so think rather than expect to be terrified, except it's terrifying. You know. Yeah.
I love the dynamic of the older man and the younger guy. And he knows all the social media stuff and everything like that. This guy knows nothing about it. How into this are you?
It's relatable. I go home and talk to my grandma, and we'll have the same conversations that me and Bill had. You know, so it's funny. I think it's cool because there is that sort of barrier these days between an older generation and a younger generation, and the biggest barrier probably is technology. We don't communicate much because one's too busy on the phone and one's too busy in a book, and then you can't talk about this book because he's never read the book because he's on his phone. And how can you talk about this Facebook comment when so it's cool to see Hodges and Jerome still get through that barrier and form an entire friendship through it, you know.
Do you think that Hodges could have solved the case without Jerome?
No. Confidently, no. Jerome, no, because Hodges needs IT help. I mean, the killer is tormenting him through the computer, through emails and through videos that he's doing, and it's disappearing out of nowhere, you know? So it's like, who are you gonna call? Ghostbuster, right?